coming from the judge who has already predetermined that my client committed fraud before we even walked into this courtroom. I'm not here to hear what he has to say. Then why exactly am I being paid as an attorney, and why exactly are taxpayer dollars being used in this courtroom? The answer is very clear. Because Miss James wants to stand right here like she did this morning and call my client a liar, call the company fraudulent, and make a name for herself. This country is falling apart. And if we don't stop corruption in courtrooms where attorneys are gagged, where attorneys are not allowed to say what they need to say to protect their clients' interests, it doesn't matter what your politics are. Everyone has a right in this country to get up and put a defense. I don't care who you are. You have a right to hire a lawyer who can put objections on the record. You have a right to hire a lawyer who can stand up and say something when they see something wrong. But I was told to sit down today. I was yelled at, and I've had a judge who is unhinged slamming a table. Let me be very clear. I don't tolerate that in my life. I'm not going to tolerate it here. And you know what? You shouldn't either. Because not every American citizen gets a camera and a microphone. And what I'm seeing is such a demise of American judicial system and democracy. Miss James came out this morning and said that she knew Mr. Trump, and she always calls him Mr. Trump because it kills her that he was the president. But the 45th president of this country, one of the best presidents we've had, has built a great company. It's worth a ton more than that statement of financial condition. And she doesn't know how to get out of it because her politics won't allow her.
Now, first of all, before we get into the important stuff, I want to draw your attention to one line in particular.
Then why exactly am I being paid as an attorney?
Why exactly am I being paid as an attorney? Well, Alina, given who your client is, I wouldn't be so sure that you're going to be paid at all. Just want to, measure expectations. From there, Alina Habba feigns outrage at Judge Engoron, saying, "I'm not here to hear what he has to say," which is a reference to Donald Trump, although just like her client, she is misrepresenting the facts. In reality, what actually happened is that the attorney for the AG's office was trying to question Donald Trump, who was insistent on filibustering with stories that were not in the questions being posed. And in this particular exchange, Donald Trump was explaining the value of Nike Town. The judge said, "Excuse me." Donald Trump said, "Hold on," before continuing with his speech. The judge said to Trump's attorney, "Mr. Kise, can you control your witness because I am considering drawing a negative inference on any questions he might be asked?" Kise urged the judge not to do that. The judge then said, "I beseech you to control him if you can," to which Alina Habba said that Trump's speech was in response to the questions and that the judge is here to, quote, "hear what Trump has to say." To which Judge Engoron said, and unlike Alina Habba, I'll include the full quote here, "I am not here to hear what he has to say. He's here to answer questions." So I get that Habba wants to frame this whole trial as some miscarriage of justice and that no one is listening to poor innocent Donald Trump, but per usual, the Trump team is straight up lying about what happened to present themselves as victims. Same story, different day. And to that exact point of Trump and his team framing themselves as the victims, here's MSNBC contributor Suzanne Craig laying that out perfectly.
By about 10:15, things started to go off the rail, and the judge just said, look, you are being non-responsive to the questions. Instead of answering if it's a yes-no question, he was going on with these long speeches, and the judge at one point, angrily reminded him that this is not a political rally. And then Trump just started in, and he said things like he called the trial crazy. He said the judge always rules against him. He said, "This is a very unfair trial, and I hope the public is watching." And this went on and on. The judge was just so fed up with him in the morning session. And I wrote down just some of the things that he said. He said, in addition to answering, he says you're not only are your questions or your answers non-responsive, they're repetitive. He says that was a yes or no question when Trump would go on and on. He says, "You can attack me." This is the judge saying that to Trump when Trump was on the defensive. "You can attack me, you can do what you want, but just answer the question." And he kept saying that this is a political witch hunt. He took umbrage with the Attorney General at one point. He just continued outburst after outburst. And an idea to the audience that this is going to, even at one point, Trump's lawyer said, that he called his client the former and future president. They were very much this morning speaking, that being Trump's team, speaking to a wider political audience. They feel that they've already lost this case, and Trump is playing a character we've known well, and that's the victim this morning.
But it's important to remember why we're seeing these theatrics from the Trump team. They're desperate to do anything they can to distract from the fact that he is a fraud. And so instead, we have these bombastic press conferences and outbursts from Donald Trump himself. And to that end, let's not lose sight of the fact that the whole reason that Trump is there is not because he's some poor innocent victim who's being persecuted by the evil Democrats. He is there because he overvalued his assets to secure favorable loan terms and undervalued his assets to secure lower tax rates. That's it. This is textbook fraud, which is why Donald Trump was already found guilty. The whole point of this trial is to determine the money damages that he'll have to pay, but his guilt is not up for debate. It's already a fact of this case. So no, Trump is not a victim, he is a criminal, and no amount of obfuscation is going to change that. And luckily, that's a point that Attorney General Letitia James laid out outside of the courtroom.
Today we heard from Donald Trump in our case against him, other defendants, and the Trump organization. He rambled, he hurled insults, but we expected that. At the end of the day, the documentary evidence demonstrated that, in fact, he falsely inflated his assets to basically enrich himself and his family. He continued to persistently engage in fraud. The numbers don't lie, and Mr. Trump obviously can engage in all of these distractions, and that exactly what he did, what he committed on the stand today, engaging in distractions and engaging in name calling. But I will not be bullied. I will not be harassed. This case will go on. We look forward to hearing the testimony of Ivanka Trump on Wednesday, and then we plan on closing our case. And then there'll be some motions on Thursday. And then the defense will present their case in chief. Justice will prevail. And it's important that all of you understand that we have already been victorious in our motion for summary judgment. And now we look forward to disgorgement and to the remaining counts in our action against Donald Trump and his repeated and consistent fraud against the citizens of the great state of New York.
So don't be fooled by the temper tantrums and the martyrdom. Trump is not on the cross for your sins. He is in court to answer for his own. No one made him commit fraud. He did it to secure better loan rates and pay less taxes. He's nothing more than a run-of-the-mill criminal. So don't let him or his lawyers convince you that he's anything else. Before you go, I need some help. Please subscribe to the channel and do your part to help grow the progressive media ecosystem. I don't do sponsorships or paid ads, I won't ask for money, but just subscribing to this channel goes a really long way, and it helps get the message out to more people. The subscribe button is right here on the screen. You can also subscribe to my Spanish language channel, which I made to reach those crucial Spanish-speaking voters. That link is on the screen too. And finally, if you want to listen to my audio podcast, you can follow that link as well. Thanks so much for watching.